Shan was a member of the Kaled Scientific Elite in the waning years of the Kaled War on Skara. She was a colleague and friend of then-coordinator Davros, and the two would often discuss the war, scientific projects, and matters concerning Kaled society. Shan appeared to be more naive regarding the true nature of the war than Davros was, as she was ignorant of the fact that Kaled food pills were made using processed corpses, and appeared to hold out some hope that the Kaled race could survive the war, while Davros seemed certain that the conflict would end in mutual annihilation of both sides. As a result, Shan was less interested in developing weapons for the Kaleds and instead researched and compiled a paper discussing the ruined biosphere of the planet, suggesting several solutions that could be put forward to limit the use of biogenic, chemical and radioactive weapons in the conflict, to ensure that once the war was won, the Kaleds would still have a planet worth living on once the dust had settled. These ideas were considered but ultimately rejected by the Kaled military, forcing Shan to approach the problem from a new, radical angle. Rather than trying to prevent the cause of the problem, Shan instead began to consider ways in which the Kaleds themselves could adapt to survive in a post-war world, assuming that once the Thals were annihilated, Skara will be little more than a radioactive wasteland. She wrote a new paper, putting forward a proposal that she called the Dalek solution. This caught the attention of Davros, who was impressed by Shan's work but believed that it could be taken even further. Initially, Shan supported Davros in the early Dalek experiments, believing that she was working for the benefit of the Kaled race as a whole. However, she was disgusted at the utter lack of morality that Davros showed during the first phase of the Dalek project, and objected to his idea of suppressing all emotions in the new Dalek creatures except hate. In response, Davros declared her a traitor and had her executed. This not only removed a potential rogue element in the ranks of Davros' scientific elite, but it also allowed Davros to claim full ownership of the Dalek idea, taking it further than Shan had ever considered, and corrupting it in ways that she would have found utterly atrocious. Centuries later, long after the end of the Kaled War, Davros recalled Shan, and though his memories were significantly corrupted, historian Lorraine Baines, a Dalek apologist who revered Davros for his scientific genius, was able to extract information about Shan from him through a series of interviews, in which she learned that Shan was not only a colleague of Davros, but also a potential lover. It appeared that Davros had feelings for Shan, and was enraged by her relationship with another Kaled, Councillor Valron. Baines also suggested that it was this jealousy that caused Davros to execute Shan, but Davros insisted that the death of Shan was simply a natural process, survival of the fittest in the scientific world, arguing that had he not killed her, Shan would have eventually surpassed Davros and taken his place as head of the scientific elite. This revelation caused Baines to begin to see Davros for the monster that he truly is. While Shan's role in Davros' history is potentially controversial, there are also a lot of mysteries and unanswered questions surrounding her past. Indeed, some have suggested that Shan never actually existed, and that Davros' memories of her were simply a result of malfunctions in his life support system. Perhaps Shan was a metaphor for Davros' own conscience, which he smothered during the process of creating the Daleks to prevent his guilt from corrupting the project. Perhaps Davros invented Shan during his interviews with Baines in order to manipulate her. But if Shan did exist, then she was perhaps one of the only people in the universe that Davros genuinely cared for, making his betrayal and execution of her all the more deplorable, illustrating Davros' true nature as a heartless, murderous tyrant. The real controversy surrounding Shan is that, if she did exist, then she is technically the true creator of the Daleks, not Davros. While Davros carried her ideas forward, corrupted them and ultimately made them reality, the initial spark of inspiration for the creation of the Daleks came from Shan, not Davros. What do you think of Shan? Do you think Davros truly cared for her? Do you think things would have been different for Skara if Shan had taken over as leader of the Kaled Scientific Elite instead of Davros? And, most crucially, do you think Shan actually existed? Or do you think Davros' memories of her are simple corruptions that manifested his long-lost conscience as a voice of reason calling to him from his shameful past? Let me know in the comments below.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to
Dalek Bumps.